I used to go to 6th Street on Austin when I was younger, and that was like my first experience of like bar hopping. But every bar in Austin, excuse me, especially on 6th Street, is essentially a version of itself.
I've gone to Austin a couple times. I've never been to 6th Street.
It's nice. It's I would recommend it.
I don't know why I've never been to 6th Street. I feel like I've like the couple of times that I went before the last time I went, like they weren't like great. Like I just didn't have a great fucking like time.
Right.
And then like the other times I was doing something. Like one time it was for like a family thing. The other time we went to like ACL, and so we were like wiped out by the end of it. So I've never gone out in Austin. But I remember when I first moved here, and everybody would wear those like "Keep Austin Weird" shirts, and like it was like a thing. Like everybody fucking loved Austin. Like everybody wanted to move there.
I like Austin.
It was so hyped up that I was like, oh my god, like I want to go to Austin. You know what I mean? Like Austin felt like the New York of Texas, like in the way that people were portraying it to me, or that's how I perceived it.
And
then I went, and I was like, okay. And then I was like, maybe that was just a bad experience. But every time I've gone after that, I'm like, I'm sorry, but I don't get the hype. Like, I don't get the hype. I don't think Austin is all that.
I like it a lot.
Do not.
But I don't think.
Like over Houston? No fucking way.
I like Houston more.
No fucking way.
I feel like Houston is just the kind of city where if you get accepted by the city, that's a weird term, but like if you feel like you belong here, then all of a sudden you start to like really understand the
thing about Houston is you have to commit yourself to being in the city and to being a part of the city. You know what I mean? And because I used to, like, again, when I lived in Katy, I was like, I hate Houston. Like, I don't fucking get it. Like, I don't want to be here. And the more that it, like, once I moved into, like, inside the loop, and once I started actually, like, living in Houston and, like, being a part of, like, my community and, like, seeing, like, shows here and, like, really, like, going out of my way to be like, this is what I want to make my life. Then it was like, man, Houston is fucking sick.
Yeah,
there's everything to do here. Like the theater scene, the art scene, the music scene, the clubbing scene, like everything, the food, like you can't fucking compete with it.
When it comes to Austin and 6th Street, I never looked at it like a New York. Because they closed down 6th Street, right? And it's like it's infamous for that. What I thought Austin was trying to be was like bourbon. In New Orleans, and I was like, y'all could never, you know what I mean? So I compared it as a like, Austin has 6th Street, and they're trying to replicate kind of like a bourbon street in New Orleans. But you cannot compare bourbon and NOLA.
I want to go back to New Orleans so fucking bad.
It's like one of those things where like New Orleans is just so drenched in history that you're there and you just feel like, holy fucking crap. Like this is.
I have a very like set view of each of the cities, like the main cities in Texas.
Yeah.
And it really makes sense as to why I ended up in Houston. I feel like Dallas is it's the more like Republican city, and it's more the business city.
And it's like,
it's either like high heavy business, like Wall Street stockbrokers kind of shit, or it's like West Texas pansexual cowboys.
Yeah. And then
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
And then Austin feels very like it's very artsy.
Austin is San Francisco.
It's very.
I think Austin is very like the hipster wannabe.
Yes, it's
that's
very
why I'm
hipster.
saying Austin is San Francisco.
Yeah. But San Francisco is actually cool.
Yeah, San Francisco is great. I think Austin tries to be San Francisco.
I think Austin's cool too, but I think it's very like. Because I like shit that, like the hipster vibe with stuff sometimes, but then it starts to get to a point, it also feels a little pretentious.
But the thing about Austin is that, like it was always portrayed that way, and then I went and I was like, this is not a hipster. What are you talking about? Everybody here works in tech. And
that's why I say it's more like San Francisco. Like
you know what I mean?
It's like these millionaires that like showed up and they work in tech and they work in like they're engineers and stuff like that.
There's nothing quirky about it. Cool. Like Austin and I've heard people talk about how like Austin, like it did used to have like that quirk and that like, Austin is so weird and like there's so much originality and stuff like that, but that hasn't been the case in years, like in decades.
Well, it's still even because I've gone and I've performed there a few times now, and like the place that I perform at, like all of the people that show up to these clubs and stuff, it's like the woke crowd that like they love to go out and like I swear, like compared to Houston, liberal though, even compared to like the clubs that are here that I've performed at that are also like they have the same vibe of like, you know, they're like the Instagram worthy clubs and all. They're still out there. They're more like everybody there is rolling. I swear, there are so many people on all different types of drugs, but all of these people are also the people that work in the tech and stuff. So they're like the woke crowd that want to be out doing drugs and partying, and then like in their tech job during the week. San Antonio feels like a little miniature Austin that's trying to do its best to be Austin, but isn't Austin.
Nah, I fuck with San Antonio heavy.
Really?
I've been only once, but I liked it because it felt. To me, it didn't feel like, it felt like the opposite. It felt like you are just you, and whatever that means, you're okay with that. You know what I mean? Like San Antonio is just not worried about being like the next big, like it's just, it exists and it does what it needs to do, and it's its own thing, and that's fine.
Here's how I classify San Antonio. You know how like people in the Northeast that like are gonna retire, they go to Florida? That's like famous. I think of San Antonio in this of like, oh, if you're a Texan that wants to stay a Texan but want to have like a more retired life, San Antonio is a place for you.
I disagree.
Like I can see that.
I'm not saying it's not popping. I'm not saying you can't do like your fun shit. Like like San Antonio is fun, but it doesn't have like the crazy city vibes. Downtown is a little smaller. Like things are spread out, not like Houston in the sense that like there's a lot of stuff and there's a big like circumference to the city. But things are like more spread out and like it's a little bit more chill. You get to the suburb quicker when you get out of the city. Like it's just not as condensed or dense. It's not as dense, and it just feels very like I like it. It's good. You get everything you need. But like at a medium volume, like library voice to like barbecue.
And then,
you know what I mean? Which is still great. Like you can get your shit done there and have fun. But maybe like it's not gonna like turn the fuck up.
That's why I like it. Like I like that San Antonio is kind of like mid, and I don't mean that in a bad way. But
it's a great compliment. It's a great compliment.
You are not doing the most, and you're not doing the least.
No,
you're just
steady.
Enough.
You're just steady.
Yeah, you're solid.
You're just steady.
And then
you're established. You're set.
Coming to our hometown. Good old Houston. Look at Houston. I love Houston because of the fact that it feels similar to Austin in the sense that it's just as artsy and it has just as much like going on in that sense.
Diversity.
But
I also feel like
it's not like pretentious hipster type of style. You know, it's just it pops off and it has all the art and all the style, but without being like stuck up or snobby about it.
And that's what I was also
a little bit more like down to earth and a little bit more ghetto-ness to it. That's just
there's more humility. There's definitely some, but I think the beautiful part about Houston is I think overall ideologically, Austin is the most liberal. That Dallas is the most conservative.
I was gonna say, I think I disagree. Whenever you were mentioning it earlier too, I was thinking like that's also the thing is that people view Austin as this like woke city, but it's a lot of like white woke people, which is not. You know what I mean? And that's also why I love Houston because there's actual like diversity. Not that there's no diversity in Austin, but in here, like
that's for sure.
We were just on Main Street and look, and nobody's whatever the ideals are, it's part of like their identity, not part of like a campaign that they're making for themselves. Right. You know what I mean? And I think that's why I'm also like, I don't really fuck with that because I feel like everything about what Austin tries to portray is it's like you're trying to make us believe that is what it is, but it's not organically what it is.
Right.
You know what I mean?
That's a great point. I definitely think that Houston is organic. Houston is like, we know who we are. We don't apologize and we cut through the bullshit. Like, and I really, really, really enjoy that about the city. Like we are bullshitless for a bit of a majority of the time.
Yeah.
Or we're on our bullshit. Like it's one or it's either or. You know what I mean? We're either like we're not doing any bullshit, or we're on the bullshit, or we are the bullshit. You know what I mean?
The bullshit.
And it's such a beautiful, great experience.
Yeah.
I do think we're a little bit more conservative than all the other not all the other cities, but like
I don't believe that.
I think so. I think because even in the Latin community, I feel like there's probably a little bit more conservative frame of minds. I don't mean like deeply conservative. I still think that
I think there might be more levels in here.
I think there's more nuances and stuff.
Yes, I do agree with
but
that.
Hey, pull up the Hunter S. Thompson quote about Houston. I think this is the most perfect.
Yeah.
I think this is the most perfect explanation.
Well,
of what
you
Houston
brought
is.
this up and talked about it with the Astros, right? When the Astros thing happened.
Yes, the Astros moment was great.
Dude, we should go to a fucking baseball game and get drunk and then just go out. We could walk.
When the Astros got caught cheating or whatever.
Oh, boo fucking hell.
Everybody was up in arms. Look at this quote.
I know. Fuck off. Y'all stay mad.
Houston is a cruel, crazy town on a filthy river in East Texas with no zoning laws and a culture of sex, money, and violence. It's a shabby, sprawling metropolis ruled by brazen women, crooked cops, and super rich pansexual cowboys. There's more. So you have to.
Oh, hold on.
You have to click it.
Why do you say that?
Oh, I hate that it does that.
I'll read it again.
If it'll open, why
just click it once.
I am.
Well, I think that's it's not gonna show the rest of the thing. Like that's a tweet, and it's you know what I mean. Like
No,
that's
but
not
it
gonna
should
show.
open the whole website.
Sure, but it already did, and it's not gonna show the rest of the quote. Is what I mean.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay. So hit that. So let me do it again. But why is it why is it pulling
Who
up
live
another?
by the code of the West, which can mean just about anything you need it to mean in a pinch. I have seen that.
Yeah. Crooked cops and super rich pansexual cowboys who live by the code of the West.
Yeah, word.
It's beautiful. I think that's like perfect.
Super rich pansexual cowboys
rich
who live
kids
by
with
the
nothing
code
but
of the
noose
West.
Code of the
West is Hunter S. Thompson,
which can mean just about anything you need it to mean in a pinch. We are so fucking resourceful and morally ambiguous. It's not even fucking funny. From our education system,
who is
all
that?
the way. He's a writer. He's a writer that wrote. He coined this term called gonzo journalism, where like he immerses himself in the cultures that he's trying to write about. So like he did like one of his most famous things was he worked with he did an article on the Hells Angels, the biker gang.
I don't know what that is.
So in order to like write about them, he spent a long time just like hanging out with them.
Word.
He spent a long time just like writing with them, talking to them, gaining their trust so that they felt like he was a genuine person. And then he would write about them very like bluntly and quite beautifully as he got to know like the leaders and stuff like that. So like whereas like somebody might write about them in passing, like this is who they are, this is what I see, like he would really like learn what it was like to be with them and then write about them in not necessarily in a flattering light, but like in just like an honest way.
Yeah.
So his books and his manuscripts got turned into a movie, a couple movies actually. Where the Buffalo May Roam, I think is one of them. Bill Murray starred as him. Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, Johnny Depp was him. The Rum Diary, Johnny Depp was him. And he was wild. He was crazy, like chaotic, like.
Oh, can we look up?
Like,
wasn't it him that had the? He
had the crazy schedule.
The schedule. Let's see. Let's see if I can find that.
Crazy ass schedule. Yo, it's wild. I mean, he was doing cocaine nonstop, like.
Daily routine.
Yeah, daily routine.
That's crazy.
Let me see. Put it.
What the fuck?
You got to see this.
Why does it do this? How do I fix that?
Here, let me see.
Why is it doing
I absolutely. Oh, now I got it. Okay.
3 p.m. Rise. 3:05.
At 3 p.m. work.
Yeah.
3 p.m.
3:05. Chivas Regal with the morning papers. A Dunhill cigarette. So Chivas is a whiskey.
Okay.
3:45 cocaine. 3:50 another glass of Chivas Dunhill. 4. What does that say?
9
4:05. First cup of coffee, another Dunhill. 4:15, cocaine. 4:16, orange juice, another Dunhill. 4:30, cocaine. 4:54, cocaine. 5:05, cocaine. 5:11, coffee and more Dunhills. 5:30, more ice and the Chivas. 5:45, cocaine. 6 p.m., grass to take the edge off. 7:05, Woody Creek Tavern for lunch. Heineken, 2 margaritas, 2 cheeseburgers, 2 orders of fries, a plate of tomatoes, coleslaw, taco salad, a double order of onion rings, carrot cake, ice cream, bean fritter, more Dunhills. Another Heineken, cocaine, and for the ride home, a snow cone, which is a glass of shredded ice, which is poured 3 or 4 jiggers of Chivas. 9 p.m., cocaine. 10 p.m., drops acid. 11 p.m., chartreuse and cocaine. 11:30, cocaine. Midnight, Hunter is ready to write. 12:05 to 6 a.m., chartreuse, cocaine, grass, Chivas, coffee, Heineken, clove cigarettes, grapefruit, Dunhills, orange juice, gin, and at 6 p.m. in the hot tub with champagne, Dove bars, and fettuccine Alfredo. At 8 a.m., Halcyon, and at 8:20, sleep.
Wait, I'm sad because this one doesn't say. There was one that said like it was like 6 p.m. after already saying cocaine multiple times on it. It was like 6 p.m. Start doing cocaine seriously.
Yeah, start doing cocaine seriously. I think it was right here where he was doing a lot of cocaine.
Yeah.
Like 5:45.
There was one that was like,
here,
start doing cocaine
seriously. Start doing cocaine seriously. He was wild. He was a crazy ass dude.
What did he die of?
He killed himself. He shot himself in the head.
Well, I was gonna say it had to have been an overdose, but that also makes sense.
He died in 2005.
Like,
brilliant writer. I mean, he was how did he do?
He said,
like, if he actually followed that schedule every day, you're telling me he didn't overdose?
On this thing, it
he
says
was
that
doing
one of his
cocaine
quotes,
every 15 minutes.
One of his quotes is, "I hate to advocate drugs, alcohol, and violence or insanity to anyone, but they've always worked for me."
I mean,
apparently, hey, he was a wonderful writer.
I do get that. I do get that.
I get that 100%. But yeah, he was wild. So they did a couple movies about him, and he has the best Houston quote that I can think of. Beautiful. Because like when the Astro scandal happened, when I heard about what happened, I'm not a big baseball person. I could give a fuck. But when it happened, everybody was in 2 camps. Either oh, everybody does it, or blah blah blah, this and that, or like, nah, like you're tripping, like we won fair and square, or whatever. To me, the most Houston shit about it was that not only did they do it, which is already like all right, but they committed to it in like a brazen way with the whole like trash cans hitting each other or whatever. Mm-hmm. You could hear it in videos where they're like, clearly it's fucking loud, and just like, all right, like they're going for it. And then on top of that, the team itself was so good that they didn't need to do it. It's such a Houston thing to be like, no, I'm that good, but I'm gonna do it anyway because I fucking can, and y'all can suck it. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
The thing that was not Houston about it was everybody was like, everybody does it. Like, not they should have been like, and what?
And what about it?
You ain't taking these rings though. Like,
yeah.
Like, all right, cool. Like that would have been more. Yeah. Sorry.
Oh, my bad.
Get it together. You know what I mean?
Y'all are a little late.
Yeah, like my bad. Like y'all are on that. It's 2019. Y'all ain't got better shit to do. This happened in 2017.
That's crazy.
We on another level already. We done upgraded. Like
that is crazy.
That was, to me, that was like, that's so Houston, and people didn't recognize it, and I was just like, yo, that's wild. And then I had hella jokes after that about it all, because I thought it was great that they got caught. But then I would get in arguments with people because they're like, yo, you don't understand. And I'm just like, come on, bro. Like,
I have never gotten into an argument with someone like this. Every time I'm just like,
I think I posted, I either tweeted about it or I posted something that day that was like, yo, can we turn Minute Maid back into Enron Field because of the cheating? And I thought that was a brilliant ass joke, and nobody liked it. And I was like,
well, you have to explain it. You have to explain it because there's more to it.
Well, because Enron was a company based here in Houston that, again, some Houston ass shit, would control energy grids in California and stuff. So they pretty much either inflated or like lied about like insurance. Lied about like energy spikes and shit, like, or things, and they overcharged, and they pretty much stole like hundreds of millions of dollars.
What?
Minute Maid used to be called Enron Field, and there was a big old E there. There's like Enron Field, and they were like crowned as like Forbes' like new company to watch. Like they were on track to be like these next heavy hitters in finance and like the world of business and shit like that. They were like innovators and like all this crazy shit. And then they got caught. And like if you were here in Houston whenever that was happening, I didn't see this, but if you were walking downtown, like their building was in downtown, if you were walking downtown, you could literally see people on the street shredding papers on the street. Because the FBI was going and like we're gonna take all their shit. So you would literally see people walk out of the building with boxes of papers trying to shred them and tear them, throw them in the trash. It was fucking wild. The guy went to jail. There was another guy that was like the CFO or something. He moved to Colorado. Nobody can find him now. He stole like $300 million or some shit.
Shut the fuck up.
It was wild. It was so crazy. So all that shit happened, and then when they cheated, when the Astros cheated, I was like, can we turn it back into Enron Field? It feels like it's a little more fitting. You know what I mean?
Like we're going back to our roots.
Yeah, I was like, you know what I mean? Like.